feels like it is a little, there's probably pipettes around here somewhere. My favorite is marine blue. The best. If I could bathe in a color, I would absolutely bathe in marine blue. Hello, everybody. We're on a little bit early tonight, so if people were waiting for a 6 o'clock start, we're getting it a little bit early. I'm going to start. With some water soluble, just sort of crayon scribbly marks on the background. I know that it's going to activate with water, so by making marks with things that I know are going to activate with water, I'm holding it very loosely with what the outcome is going to be, because I'm just trying to get in and get some color started. I'll spritz with a little bit of water. Usually I'm working on just one sheet at a time, but because we have the two there, we can, you can take one and let it drip on the other one. You can take one and let it blot on the other one, or you could save that second one and do a totally different colorway if you wanted to experiment on your first one and then try different colors later. I gave you that tissue, this menu tissue, to also sort of use to move things around. Sometimes it's fun to use it to kind of block some of the color up, or a little extra water up if it feels like it needs it. These are not really moving that much with, interesting, not moving that much, the Crayola one. But these really did, the water-based clean color marker. That's the one that was in the box. This is the one that's, yeah, right over there. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. I know this is Jen, but
I'm Jen.
You're Jen. Jody. You're Jen. You're Jody. For some reason, I thought you totally flipped that around. I probably called Jody Jen when she came in. Hi. Yeah, I did. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. You are Jen. 100%. Yeah. Jen, have you taken classes here before in this studio?
I came to a private shopping when we were in Europe.
Brilliant.
It was.
More water. Yeah, the sink is right over there, or just swap it out. Okay, so mine is acting very underwhelming with this. So that to me says I just want to get in there and add something a little more juicy. I love paint markers, using them unconventionally, so making them puddle. The Tulies don't puddle like pasta. Or acrylic ink. That's what's going to really puddle. That's what I like though. So when you spritz a little water down, and then take one of these pump markers or the acrylic ink and kind of drip right at the edge and let it cool in. This is the first year that I've really noticed my color schemes completely changing. My colors changed with the season this year. I think, well, definitely my environment changed more than it does normally at the change of season. But man, it's dramatic, like looking back at the colors that I was using in the summer versus now. Pretty fun.
Yeah.
I noticed it even, I mean, I feel like it's subtle, but I was filming something from the house and just kind of doing a pan around my backyard at the property up there. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my color scheme right here. Can I, like the gazebo was painted this sort of rusty reddish color. And I'm like, I rarely use red, but it's showing up a lot more like this sort of rusty, orangey reddish color. And yellow ochre, tons of yellow ochre showing up in my work right now. Do you guys notice your colors changing or ever?
I've been noticing, I'm always using pink,
Mhm.
so it's like, but I noticed I've changed the colors that I use with a little bit, or just a little bit. And more like less bright pinks and more like
Corally colors, yeah. My favorite combo for that, what you're talking about, is this Quinn Rose, Azo Yellow D plus white. And that color.
Yeah,
We're gonna try that out. Yeah, I went in to get this so that I could absolutely facilitate trying that out. But there's no white. Oh, I have just one.
love this pen.
Which one?
This Costco one.
Oh, yeah, of course. There's that. I don't know if you guys can hear me at home or not. I know there's 3 people watching right now, but if you can't hear me, please message me or let me know that you can't hear me somehow, some way. Otherwise, I'll just go based on the assumption that you can. We'll see. Usually Jana texts me on my phone if she's like, we can't hear you. I know. Huh? And maybe my friend Karen is on. I don't know. I'm live a little bit early, so I promise you guys I will repeat what it is that I've done so far. But right now, what I'm making is this gorgeous coral color that I keep talking about that I love, which is Quinn Rose, Azo Yellow Deep, and a ton of white. And tell me, Sarah, is this the color?
Yeah.
Good, Jana can hear us. Jana texted. Sarah says hi. So here's those colors. If anybody else wants to make that gorgeous coral color, it's the, yeah, you just mix it until you like the shade of it.
Grind it. Mixing.
And I did bring some stencils from home that I haven't played with yet. And how many people are there? 4 people. Very, very surprise sneak peek of what the December stencil is going to be for my stencil of the month, because I got ahead of the game and actually got it done in time. And that is, we can play with them tonight, months and taste of the week. Because I just never have a nice, chunky 3-letter abbreviation. You can see where I would use it on the front of my thing, but so many other places too. And I really enjoyed, a couple of artists recently have been super inspiring with the way that they are cutting strips out of big block. All I can think of is it's like magazine titles, right? But they cut strips out so you can't quite read it, but it's a very neat graphic element. And when I designed the stencil, I'm like, oh, look, you could do that whole cut out just a strip of it and not really read it and get the really fun graphic element. So that's a side benefit of this stencil, but this is bonus. I usually only send 1 stencil out every month, and I was like, you couldn't fit it on one. So I'm like, they're gonna get super fun. I could make a special arrangement because you are here live. They will not go up for purchase online until December, but for you, I brought them along. So, but wait, there's more. Yeah, for you, for 13, no. And this is last month's stencil of the month, which I designed literally from the walnut leaves in my driveway. I took them and I glued them to a piece of paper and I scanned them and I sent them to my husband and I said, make me a stencil with my walnut leaves. So these are directly from that. I thought they would make some great masks and stencils art. What you need, hon? Paintbrush, look in here in like that zipper pouch right there, right next to it too. There might be something in there. The little one that's outside. And then I'll move over by the door.
Yellow and green.
I came in with, I started with a little bit of each on my brush and then I came into the white and then I just kept adding, did need a little more pink, came back in and picked a little more pink up. If it feels like it's too heavy on the pink, add a little more yellow, but usually I just have to adjust until it turns that gorgeous coral blushy color, which I just can't get enough of. And I love it with lime green and I love it with aqua.
They're not long. Great.
Sometimes I just make myself do with what I have. Like I never use a paintbrush over top of a map and just kind of, go for it. But I'm too lazy to get up and find a makeup sponge. I'm just doing it anyway. And sometimes that you get like, oh, I would have never done that, but I kind of like the way that it looks messy and grungy and, not my norm. So that's the way it's fun to go play with other people's things because you kind of force yourself out of that. Well, if I were in my studio, I would do it this way.
I would do it the same way I always do it.
Exactly. So we did bring a box of some stencils and things like that there. Definitely see if you want to move some of this paint around on the surface with things that will actually move it around, like more of that. Yeah, the picture that I'm using. Everything going with you, Heidi?
It's going.
School year going all right?
Yeah, kind of rocky, but. Yeah. They're really, they need it. Middle school.
Good teacher.
I work in the library. Have a lot of incidents. Fighting. Girl issues. Like every year it seems like more since COVID. I think you're right, yes.
But I was saying sometimes the fallout comes a number of months later that we didn't realize how. Saying that to Sarah earlier, like I hit the ground running. March 13, we found out we were going to be closed down. Like March 17, I was already doing online classes and I just didn't stop and just kept going and didn't stop. And then like a number of months later, I had a total complete hit the wall crash. Like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Yeah, I honestly, it was surprising to me in the moment that it happened, and then not surprising at all afterwards and reflecting, like, oh, shocking. But it felt kind of like the frog in the boiling pot, right? The pressure, and you just don't even realize until I saw somebody post today, and I'm like, oh my goodness. How did she phrase it? Because I go through dry spells and sometimes I don't realize that I've been in one of those, whatever you want to call it, dry spells, slump, block, not in flow, the place that I don't want to be. I don't realize that I'm there until I'm coming out of it because I have such that like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, just keep moving, plod forward, just keep doing it. Yeah. And I don't know, like I get by, but I also want to be more mindful of not finding myself in that, completely spent. Absolutely. And it's funny, I kind of have a little bit of there's a response that I get. I won't say that I get triggered by it because that word I think gets overused, but I get activated when people say things like, and please don't ever stop saying this to me because it's good for me to hear it. Oh my gosh, you're so busy. And then I'm like, if the perception is that I'm so busy, like, am I? Or is it just that's all they see is the busy parts of my life? Or, right? Or am I am I running that train down the track, just full speed ahead and not realizing it? So it's interesting how that activates me. And it gives me the opportunity to be like, am I? No, I'm taking care of myself. I'm doing like, I'm good. I'm good. But right.
And I keep saying I'm busy, but it's good busy.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, it's good busy. But right before, what's funny is that right before that burnout that I was talking about, somebody actually not called me out on it, but she's like, I hope you're taking care of yourself. And I got so irrationally upset with that.
Oh.
I was just like, oh, that triggered something in me. We'll call it trigger that time. And I just remember being really curious, like, why did I respond like that? I was really like, I was over the top. Oh no, I am taking great care of, I've become an expert in self-care is what I said. And I'm like, huh, why am I being so defensive over this? Huh, interesting.
How I'm just saying that,
Uh-huh.
so I'm just gonna say them until it feels like I need to say it.
There you go.
And then it comes to what I need to say it. So, I'm really going to do this and for you. Voice this kind of thing.
That's good. That's good. Do any of you have a guiding word for the year, or have you ever done that? Flow is yours this year. Mine is notice this year, which has served me really. Like, I don't want to give up notice. Like, I want to continue. That's kind of like a life word for me anyway. I do try to practice the art of noticing and that sort of thing. And then I had this blessing retreat at this Oregon space a couple of weekends ago, and one of my girlfriends there just kept saying, I'm really leaning into the and of my life right now. I can be this and that. This can be true and that can be true. And I'm like, oh, that resonates so deeply within me. And so that I think that's definitely going to be my my word of the year next year. Just lean into the and. Yes, I can be busy and rested. Who knew, right? Who knew? Okay, well, not overthinking it. I like to have a little bit of white space on these only because I know how I use them, and I tend to doodle and contemplate in that and like make more marks over top of things. So it's the only reason I'm leaving any extra white space at all, because usually I just fill it all up. But I'm going to pull a little bit of these layers back. Tissue. I will be right back. I'm gonna go.
Yeah. What I love about these is that it's actually a bristle brush. So you can, there's actually bristle on there, so you can actually get the marks.
Like a brush. Definitely want more blue in mine. Is that marine blue over there somewhere? Yeah. If I do this more often in here, I would definitely have to do more studio lights. In my home studio, I have obnoxious lights everywhere, right? So there's none of this harsh shadows that I'm watching. Imperfectionist. Yeah, they definitely help for you guys for having more light on your workspace. Especially certain times of the year, right? It shouldn't be a problem 12 to 4 with tomorrow's class. I love acrylic ink so much. I think if there's one like extra supply that I just couldn't do without, I would call it acrylic ink.
Yeah. I like it because you can make it like watercolor, but then it's permanent.
Mhm. I brought some light snacks too for us, but also for the book signing. Sabrina will come out and set some things up in a little bit. Dress with yourself whenever you want. There's I should have said that when you first came in. There's a curd over there that if you want coffee this late at night, I don't know, but there's teas as well. You could do some hot water. There's sparkling waters in the fridge up yourself. And then we've got some cheese and crackers and some cookies, and Trader Joe's is always the best for snacks. Not only snacks, but let me tell you, my girlfriend that's doing the hospitality for me up at the house, she goes, "Oh, we can get everything for the meal at Trader Joe's." And I'm like, "I've never eaten like a full meal from Trader Joe's." Oh my goodness. She got salmon, and I'm not a salmon eater. I don't eat meat at all. My husband would love it if I loved salmon like he does. It actually looked good, and I was really hungry at the end of the day. So I'm like, I'll take a bite. I actually had more than one bite. I had a little. I'm like, I texted him that like, "You'd be so proud of that salmon." I said, "Not just one bite, like lots of bites." I felt like such a kid reporting into my parents, He was so happy. But yeah, we had like stir fry vegetables and salmon and I love their, vegetable fried rice at Trader Joe's anyway. That's kind of a,
Something I found there is the empanadas.
uh-huh,
There's 2 in a packet.
uh-huh.
And I have this pico sauce. It's in dressing that the sauce and okay. Fermented chili, kind of vinegary.
Oh.
Really good.
And I love them. And I found them and I ate one. I was, these are really good. And I went back and then for like 4 weeks they weren't there. I was it never coming. And then when they came back.
There is, so if you need, makeup sponges for the counting through and that wasn't, let them like out of the rent tools for the job. No, thanks for. I toss this over time. I also took a stencil set that I made in July and had him enlarge it. So we've got some brand new botanical stencils that haven't hit the shop yet. I'm supposed to be playing with them and seeing if they need any editing, but there's six botanicals. And you guys are welcome to play with those as well. They're right down here. I'm gonna set one aside and let it dry a little bit and move on to another. Sarah, what type of things do you want me to have out available for them? I know you brought your own, but is there anything else that would be helpful? Mhm. I could email people too if we wanted everybody to, if they had one at home to bring them, because I know we're like limited numbers here. Okay.
Yeah. I brought 3.
Okay.
So I brought one, again.
Yeah, you can set it back on the counter back there for now. Thank you so much. Thanks, Sabrina. Oh, nice. Didn't realize that was a hidden talent of you. We'll definitely be tapping into that a little more. Sometimes just rolling on extra paint is all I need to get started. And then have some old foam stamps that I made and using those with the water soluble crayons, but also a nice way to get some interesting marks in the background.
I know, but it's not like this. When it comes, first comes out of the package. It's a
It's very well used, very well loved, stencil for sure. This is the week to bring back the pink. Because this just feels like playing with more pink this week. What's a supply that you can never get yourself to like to use? Yeah.
I think my life, I'm gonna go into detail and do this. But,
Hmm.
I'm not looking to steady,
Yeah.
like I want them to be more organic.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I think when, like I love them in other people's heart, but they're not gonna do my.
hopefully want to.
You like what? White gel pens? Yeah. Hmm. I did not like chalk pastels until I forced my Watch.Learn.Play crew to focus on pastels for an entire month. And then that was the 1 month. So we've been focusing on a supply a month since July or August. We started with gouache, and then we did pastels, and then we did ink, and then we did paper, which we're doing right now. And I did 2 months of paper because I'm like, I can't cover like all the different types of, and I'm still not covering all the different types of paper, but I felt like I wasn't done with paper yet for October. So we're adding on paint markers this month as well. So I'm curious to know what you said that they're too steady. The Poscas are too steady.
Yeah.
You just try using them straight as they are, or have you tried like cuddling them and doing other things with them, or spray, like put them down and spray them then? Before they, yeah, so this is the cool thing. Before they set into the paper, spray them, and then they go crazy. And then you're like, oh, that doesn't look like it's straight out of them. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, I didn't think I was gonna like this one as well as the one that I started before that. And this is the second one. First, not only, second one is coming out quite nice. Pleased with what I've got going on, so that's always a good thing. That is always a good thing. So I'm going to now show the folding. If you have one that's dry, it's best to have it dry because it doesn't, it's just a pain in the neck to fold damp paper. Just tactile for me is huge. So I refuse to fold damp paper. Go ahead. So I'm going to get this dry. You get that dry and then we'll. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start with the way that I fold it every time. And I've got two papers. So the second one I'm going to show you is going to be a square fold. So the first one is just the traditional zine fold that probably you've tried or seen or had somebody show you. So there's that rectangle shape, or there's the tall, skinny one. So it'll depend on when you're folding which, first of all, we fold each direction in half. So it doesn't matter which way you start, long and skinny, or along that, what would you call it? I don't like saying short and fat. Hamburger hot dog. Yeah, that's usually what I do. Hamburger hot dog. So we start hamburger or we start hot dog. It really doesn't matter. And that's probably why. That's probably why they call it hamburger hot dog, right? Not tall and skinny, short and fat. So if you want it to be this sort of rectangular shape, then you would fold again into the center at that point, right? From this way, if you wanted the rectangle, so hold it up again, the not tall and skinny one, that one. If you want that one, then when you get it to this in hamburger, then each of those edges will fold back out to the center crease, or fold to the center crease. I like mine tall, like a bookmark, right? Tall and skinny. So when it's in hot dog mode, so it looks like a hot dog, then I will also fold those, instead of the other direction, I fold them out to the center crease. And then grab scissors for everybody. There might be some floating around. You just need one little snip on that center crease right here. Now, when you folded it the one time in half hamburger, that is where we're going to cut. There you go. I will pass the scissors. Okay.
Yeah, we got
Oh, you got them? Okay. So you only cut through one of the segments. So just that one segment gets cut. On the back side is how I cut it so that I can see it. And then I'm going to reverse all of those folds so that the color, all the paint is trapped on the inside of the pages. So I folded it the way that I did to begin with. You're doing good right there. There you go. Yeah. So Sarah, that's perfect. Yeah. Right. So now, Jody, you want to reverse all of those folds, because when you do what you just did, you'll see how the paint will get trapped on the opposite side as you want it. So there you go.
So I'm cutting it with here.
You're cutting it right there. Whichever side is easiest to like see. That's why I usually had it. There you go. Cut it on the white side, and then I reverse all the folds so that I can actually see them. You have a zine. And then I take it like this when it's all colorful. This is just visually how it makes it easiest for me to see that it, just like that. Just like that. Gotta make the sound effect. It's absolutely required. And then I can flip the pages around and see like, what do I want to be on the outside? Because you can at this point rearrange the order and decide what's going to be on the outside. I think I'm going to have this leafy thing. And then everything feels a little wonky until I glue one of the edges together. And then it feels like everything kind of folds back into place. So I'm going to grab a glue stick. You could glue all of the back sides together, and then it really stabilizes and it turns it into like more of a board book, because this is 98-pound mixed media paper. You may have done this with your watercolor paper. It's 90-pound watercolor paper, 98-pound mixed media paper. It does hold up beautifully, but here's where, so I'm going to do it like this. It's going to be my front cover. So I'm going to glue the back sides of these pages to just this one, just so that everything is aligned, right? Because if everything is aligned on one of the panels, everything else kind of nudges into place. theoretically. No, that's usually what happens.
I always do my things together.
Yeah.
Don't they just think more like little
Absolutely. Let's see.
All zigzag.
Okay, so open the inside up. There you go. There you go. Now you got it. Uh-huh. And then we have bone folders too, if anybody wants that to really get in there and crease the. See how when these two pages line up, even though these still feel a little bit wonky, they start to kind of shift in. You just have to fiddle with it a little bit more and open it up and close it and that sort of thing. This is the one that I cut if I want to have that open up, you know, here's my last week, right? So here's one page, another page, another page, and another page. But this one right here, actually, the inside of it opens up. So if you want that on yours, purely optional, what I do is I cut this top part. So once this side is, the front cover is glued, then I'll cut the other part free. I just liberate it. And then it still acts like a,
Yeah, it's not two pieces of paper.
it's not two pieces of paper, all right? So it is important to glue that one thing shut. Otherwise you would end up with something that was a little more unwieldy. This, the parts are so much more interesting than the whole.
What happens with the time?
Mhm. The best. Okay, so I'm gonna play around in this one a little bit more. I will put my month on it. Let's see, are we in November? Yes, the extra.
Are you selling your book today?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We have customers come home, take a look at it. Awesome. Cool. I'm gonna use your clean hands. to help me.
I wanted to make a team for.
Are you serious? Jody, I am so excited. I am so excited for you.
When I watched it, I was like, this thing is just like. Like I need it,
Yay.
and it's nice that you can work and see how I'm helping and go, like,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Oh, and there's so many adaptations. This is just the first of my, so one of my mantras is first, not only, right? First, not only is a mindset on approaching life, right? However you want to look at it, but approaching things is like the first time that I learn, right? It's not the only time, but then it's super fun to play around with the adaptations of it.
Art tribe was doing Fletcher.
Yeah.
She always says, like it makes him more.
Yeah.
Like him.
Nice. So I'm in art tribe too. I need to be more active.
I'm not active on like Facebook. Yeah. I like big name.
Mm-hmm. It felt very familiar because I've done Nicholas Wilton's course a couple of times now. And I've done it, yeah, 2, 3 times. Yeah. Well, once you do it the first, once you do it the first time, it's financially, like, I've already invested. So coming back as an alumni is way less than the initial investment. So you're like, why not? I'm gonna pick something up again. But Louise Fletcher feels very familiar, like, I think she was one of his students at one point in time. And so it feels very comfortable to me. It feels very familiar. Yeah, I am a member of many other people, many other artists' memberships, just because I like to support other artists. And maybe I'll participate, but I just love to support other artists. Well, whatever. All right. So one thing I'm missing on this is numbers. Should have put some numbers on there too, but I didn't. So that one is, I've got November, and then I'll just write or stamp the dates. But with my brand new stencil, I stamped the dates, the days of the week at the top. So I've already got my journal for next week all ready. I come back then, of course, as I work in it through the week and add all the details and outline things and put bullet points and make my list. And then, like I said before, this afterwards, except for the fact that I kind of am enjoying collecting them now and putting them together, and I've turned like a bunch of these into a book.
Yeah.
So, but they could just be ephemera afterwards. But I want to show you guys I think people call it a meander book, but doing this, the other piece in the square format, just so you get to, it's another one. You could actually fold your second one exactly the same way you folded the first one and just watch me do this one. Or if you wanted to try, you did one tall and skinny, you did one hamburger, you want to do one hot dog, you can totally try it. But this one starts out the same as the other, except landscape orientation. I'm going to fold it into quarters. So it will be the same as the other, but we're folding it landscape first. Actually, you know what we're going to do? This is going to be a smaller rectangle. We're going to do quarters both directions. Trust me on this. We'll do quarters on both directions. So it's going to be a little rectangle book. I just realized that we were working with 11 by 14 and it wasn't going to be perfectly square anyway, so we might as well just lean into making it simple. So if I were doing this, my traditional square format, I would have folded it into thirds going the other direction, which is very fiddly when we're doing it, eyeballing it. And so this is easier on all of us to just do it in quarters both directions. You just get a little bit of a different shape to your page. But this, actually, the shape for this page is about the size of a kindness card. Or ATC, yes. So I started doing this with my mixed media prompts and turn them into like a little mixed media prompt mini book. And then you can just put a prompt on each page.
Oh, that's good.
So with the thicker paper, because I'm working with the, shouldn't be thicker because it feels like, I thought that this was 90 pound, the other was 98, but the watercolor paper feels a little bit thicker to me. So I'm going to refold each of the folds going the opposite direction, just so that I have really nice, tight or crisp folds there. I'm gonna make a mark on mine. You do not need to make a mark on yours, but I want to make a mark on mine so you see where I'm cutting before I cut. And then, I'd go lightly with Sharpie so that it doesn't bleed through. Okay, can you guys see if I put this up? We're gonna cut from this side through 1, 2, 3 segments. And then the next row down, we're gonna start on the opposite side, come through 1, 2, 3 segments. And then the bottom row. So you start on alternating sides for each row. I think some people call this a meander book. I have, this was the first YouTube video that I put up when my son, who is now married in 28, when he was in 8th grade and I was in his classroom. So if you go back to my YouTube channel, the one that you guys are watching on live right now, and scroll all the way back to the very first YouTube video, it was me showing this book form to an 8th grade class. And the only reason I put it on YouTube is that I knew that I was going to go into the 5th grade class right afterwards, which was what my daughter was in at the time, and teach them as well. So if they could just watch the YouTube video, then I wouldn't have to, right? Way back in the day. The funny part is that if you watch the video all the way to the very end, you get to see me give the stereotypical look to the kid, because I'm like, okay, all right, the video's done. You can go ahead and cut it. And he's just like kept going, like, because that's just him. And I give him the look like, yeah. It's picked up. It is immortalized on my YouTube channel. You know. I did not get to see anybody's chat messages today. I'm not sure if that was me in the way that I set the call up or what. If you guys want to, if you want to come down and watch this, I'm just gonna, it's easier for me to do it under the camera and then talk you through what I'm doing. I start this without gluing this front page, right? So that just consider this the front page. So I'm gonna tuck that one underneath. And then I'm gonna take my glue stick and I'm going to glue every other. So that one's gonna go over, and then the whole pile comes with it. It goes under. And then glue stick. So just this repetitive glue stick. And it just went under, right? So now everything is going over and everything comes with it. Over, under, glue, over, under, glue, over, under, glue, over, under, glue, over, under, glue. And then we're coming up to that last page. You don't glue the last page either. So the first and the last are your end sheets. So over, under, and then I have my front page and each of the subsequent pages are. And had I done this with the 12 by 16 paper and done it in thirds or quarters, right? Quarters and thirds, then I would have a square book. Okay. Right. So,
Yeah, really cool. It looks really good.
oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so then you can decorate the front back covers. You can put something over the spine, but this is just another. If you made multiples of these, you could glue one end sheet to the next end sheet and make them bigger and bulkier. We do that all the time. But that is it for my YouTube live. So thank you guys for watching along on there. We're done for another week. I'm going to go ahead and cut that one off and say, have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.